Headaches and Heartaches on Midlands Today. Brought to you by the beautiful Abbey Bloom's Botanical Gardens and Cafe Community Initiative in Multifarnham, County Westmeath. A wonderful space for relaxation designed to promote positive mental health and well-being for all. Find Abbey Bloom's Botanical Gardens on Facebook.
It's time now for our Headaches and Heartaches slot. And I'm joined in studio, first of all. Let me get my microphone up here. Where is my mic gone? Guest mic, here we are. Now we're up alive. Rory, with Rory Hafford here, who's a psychotherapist and author living in Fore in Westmeath. You also work at Lus na Gréine. Did I get that right?
You did, yeah.
Lus na Gréine, which is in Granard, the resource centre in Granard. Yeah. That's where you can be contacted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm hoping I have Margaret. Let's just check in, Margaret. Margaret, can you hear us this morning?
Breaker number 1 calling breaker number 2.
Oh, thank God she's there. Thank God.
Margaret, you wouldn't believe the trouble we had trying to get you on Zoom there. Anyway, we have you now, which is the main thing. I'm delighted to hear from you anyway. And
you have me, Aidan, and you can't get rid of me. Hi, Rory.
How are you, Margaret? How are you?
Margaret is from Bloom Counselling and Psychotherapy in Offaly. Good morning to you both, and you're very welcome.
Thanks.
Now, we lost a bit of time there, so I'm going to get straight into this, if you don't mind, and deal with our first person and first issue. This is Lisa, who lives in Portlaoise. She's having an issue with her best friend. They have been like sisters since they were 4 years old, but she feels she's given far more to the friendship and has to put up with her friends, sometimes putting her down and making sly remarks. Many people have said to her over the years, but she's always defended her friend, but lately her eyes have been opened a bit more, and now she wants out of the friendship. How does she do this in a civilised way? Rory, will I start with you?
Go on. Okay. Do you know what? There's few things as upsetting as the end of a lifelong friendship. So she's dealing with big things at the moment, and consequently probably using the emotional part of the brain, because it's a very emotional thing. Yeah. So how do you get out of it? She's not thinking with the cognitive brain, which would give her a little roadmap to do that. It's all emotional. So if you feel emotion, certainly from an existential psychotherapeutic point of view, you have to go with them, because they're there for a reason. So they're there to tell you something. So you need to connect with what it is that the emotions are trying to tell you. But I'm not sure, does it need another go? Like one more chance? I know she feels that she's taken as much as she can, but rather than just going, no, that's it, maybe just one more exploration to see if there's something there.
She doesn't say maybe where they have sat down and tried to tease it out.
Oh, yeah. And when Margaret comes in on this, she'll say exactly that. She'll say, we don't have enough information, so we're just going with what it is that we have. And you're absolutely right, because the therapeutic process is a much more in-depth thing. But the one thing that jumps out from that for me is the fact that she's been a bit disparaging towards her, and she's a bit
putting her down,
that kind of stuff. If I have learned anything in my 120 years on this earth, it is to distance from negativity, and particularly when that comes from other people.
Right.
Okay, because it can be infectious.
Yes. Margaret, what's your take on it?
Just to add to what Rory has already said, it sounds to me, again, I got endings can be sad, and I got this smack of sadness from this, because they've been together since they were little kids together. And it's interesting, Rory said about maybe another go, maybe a sit down, a chat. I thought that too, and then I decided to go with what she actually said in the short text, that is, how can this be ended, in a very civilized way? And just to add to what Rory has said, and perhaps I'm preempting an ending to this relationship by saying that Lisa has no control as to how this will end. She has up to a point, but she is only responsible for herself, her own decisions, and her own actions and how she feels. She is not responsible for anybody else. Now, that is kind of cutting to the chase. That's presupposing this friendship is ending or is about to end, because I don't want to repeat what Rory has said already, which I absolutely agree with.
The fact that she uses the term, the fact that she uses the term a civilized way, that she's predicting that this is going to go the opposite direction.
Yes, and she can only control her own reaction and actions. She is only responsible for herself and how she will react. Now, that's a very CBT way of looking at the situation, but it may help, whatever the outcome is going to be. She has no control how her ex-friend, perhaps, will react. Does that make sense, Rory?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But and again, Margaret, like all things come to an end. We know that, and it's a well-trodden path. But if it were me, and I had a lifelong friendship with somebody, obviously there's huge connection there. There's love there. There's an energy
and fierce loyalty there. Lisa defended this girl when she was putting her put downs and her sly remarks, even when others were telling her that she was doing this. She was very loyal.
Yeah. Remember this friend for all the good times that they did have and that they did share. Because even though it's an ending, it doesn't have to be brutal and it doesn't have to be extra hurtful.
Okay, fair enough. We'll move on. Our second inquiry today is from David. And David says he's had an affair with a co-worker. He ended it after a couple of months, and things have been awkward in work as she is his boss. Now he's getting all the terrible jobs, and she's rude and snappy towards him. He's completely miserable and has no one to talk to about it. What can he do?
Do you want me to kick that off?
Well, I hope you're going to be sympathetic. You're going to be sympathetic. You are.
Go for it, Rory.
I'm going, Margaret. I'm going. Don't try and hold me back. I'm into it now. So an affair with a co-worker. There's a lot of it about.
Right.
There's a lot of it about. So remember, this is a beginning, and again, it's an end to a degree. So you have to look. It's not the what. The what is the affair. Right? The why is the interesting thing for me. So why is this woman treating him so badly, so deplorably, that he's miserable and needs somebody to talk to? At the very outset, I'd say, talk to the woman, because that's where you're going to get the real answers to this. So traditionally, what's happening when an affair ends, the message you're sending is that I'm done with you. Like, irrespective of how you explain it, that's the reality. So what is this woman feeling as a result? She will definitely be feeling rejection, hurt. Her ego will be bruised, and she wants this man to know all this stuff. So she's transferring all the crappy jobs onto him, so he feels a bit of pain as well from this. But she could also well be looking for revenge. Now remember, all these things are understandable. These are heavy words, but I'm not using them to describe a monster. This is just normal stuff. But revenge can create a cycle of retaliation. And with that, there is a sadistic dynamic. It's a hurtful thing within that. And it's very difficult to escape from that repeating pattern. So the only way, in my mind, to actually deal with this is not to run away from it, but to sit down again in a civilized manner with this woman and find out exactly what is going on in her head. Because key things have clearly not been said.
Margaret, what's your take on it?
Did you ever hear that expression, hell hath no fury,
yes.
and a woman scorned? Now, that I like Rory's take on it, but what I was reading as well into it was the misery this guy was feeling and what he was experiencing. And I can understand that the woman is hurting because he ended the relationship. But there seems to be, it smacks a bit to me of, maybe this is too strong, Rory, of perhaps a bit of bullying and harassment going on as well, and a bit of power playing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And, I immediately, this is the CBT therapist telling you, there are things you can do about that. By all means, Rory is correct. If you can at all, if you could just sit down and have a heart-to-heart, maybe that's the wrong word, with this woman, And if not, you can't live. You can't work in that miserable situation. And most workplaces have code of practice about harassment and bullying and stuff like that. But what stuck out to me as well about David was he felt he couldn't talk to anybody.
Yes, yeah. He has nobody to talk to, so no support at work or no friends outside of, obviously, he can't speak about it at all.
That's right. Can I just end my little take on this by saying there's two great websites on this. If it ever came to the point where he felt he had to go further about it, say he did sit down with this woman and nothing, it got worse, or nothing changed. Well, he has rights. He can go to the HSE website, or Citizens Information have a fabulous website on code of practice within work, harassment and bullying. I'm sure he doesn't even want to think stuff like that now. Yeah. But he has options. He mightn't like them, but there's no need to stay miserable.
True. Okay. I agree with all that, Margaret. The thing is, though, the nature of the word, even affair, it's a secret thing. It's a hidden thing.
That's what I thought too. Like, is there one of them married?
Yeah. Anyway,
as you say, Rory, there's so much we don't know about this.
Yeah, fair enough. We're going to have to take a break, folks. Quick break, and we'll be back to you right after these.
Headaches and Heartaches on Midlands Today, brought to you by the beautiful Abbey Blooms Botanical Gardens and Cafe Community Initiative in Multifarnham, County Westmeath. A wonderful space for relaxation designed to promote positive mental health and well-being for all. Find Abbey Blooms Botanical Gardens on Facebook.
Now, welcome back to the programme. We're into the final slot of the programme, Headaches and Heartaches, and we have Rory and we have Margaret with us. Good morning again to the two of you. You can hear us, Margaret. Can you still hear us okay? You can?
I'm breaker number 9, big buddy. Put your ear to me now.
Excellent. We're going to talk about Liam, this poor guy. He's in his early 30s and he's already going bald. Now, in studio, we have two people here with me and Rory. There are two fine crops of hair, So, Margaret, we're really relying on you to reach out to this man this morning,
Well, would you believe it? I know you can't see me. You haven't had that privilege recently, but I'm thinning as well, and I'm not on the top of my hair, but I'm not making light of Liam at all.
Okay.
I think this has to do with Liam's self-worth, big time. Now, the practical side of me is saying to myself, if Liam can afford and is in a position to get hair
I should probably tell the listeners he's going bald, he's very self-conscious about it, and he's considering a hair transplant, but he's worried, will he be called vain for going that way? What should he do? Sorry,
so he's in a quandary. It's to do with self-worth. The practical side of me is saying, if Liam can do this and have this hair transplant, and if he feels it would help, go for it. But then he's all saying in the same breath, but if I go for it, I'm worried about people thinking I'm vain. Well, do you know, people, and I'm not being dismissive in any way, shape or form, but the reality is, Liam, people are busy with their own lives. They might give you a thought for a very short period of time, but they're busy with their own lives and their own problems. I think this is to do with Liam's self-worth and self-confidence. Self-worth being what he thinks of himself. So perhaps, and I can't go into this enough in the short time we have, and I'm very interested in Rory's take on this, but I think Liam should do some work on his self-worth and self-esteem. But I also think from a practical point of view, if Liam wants to do this, you go for it, Liam.
All right. What do you think, Rory? Now, Rory, I should tell people, has a fine crop of hair.
Look, the only thing I have is hair. Allow me the hair. For the love of God, don't begrudge the hair.
I'm not begrudging it one bit.
Well, first off, bald men are sexy as hell.
All right.
Yeah, that's the first thing. You look at all the superheroes and the action heroes in movies. Most of them, aside from Sly Stallone, are all bald. Secondly, if you do go bald, or you're quicker to go bald, you have more testosterone floating around your system, which makes you more man, in effect, from a chemical point of view. And then you're never going to suffer from a thing called a bad hair day, that's for sure. So there's 3 positives right off the bat. But again, I'd echo...
Also, Rory, sorry to interrupt, grass doesn't grow on a busy street.
That's Margaret, thank you so much for that intervention. It's so important.
Yes, absolutely. And the clarity. Okay, so here's the thing that I'm picking up from this, and again, certainly not to make light of it, because for some men, this is a terrible event.
People are very
it's life changing, absolutely. But I'm picking up on the word that he used, vain. Other people will think I'm vain. Now, Margaret touched on this as well. The key to that is that other people think, but this is an outside. What does it matter what other people think?
Now you have it.
Yeah, it matters what you think of you.
Yeah.
Not some of the time, all of the time. Yeah. Because everybody has an agenda. Everybody. And it's not altogether hidden either. So that's the first thing that I would say to him. And then just to pursue the vain thing, we're all a little bit vain, for God's sakes. And he's talking about a cosmetic, essentially, procedure. So as we speak, gazillions of people are actually applying makeup right now. Could that be classified as vain, or could it be classed as putting their best face forward? So all Liam is doing is putting his best head forward. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? The same as everybody else. And again, to echo Margaret, go for it, Liam. Go for it, because it's clearly bothering you.
All right, fair enough. Well, listen.
Go for it, Liam.
That's a very positive note on which to end today. I had one other item, but we don't have the time, unfortunately, to do it, and it's something that needs a bit of time, so I won't go for that item. So I'll just thank both of you, Rory and Margaret. Rory, just to remind people again, Lus na Gréine Family Resource Centre, that's in Granard. That's where you can be contacted, isn't that right?
Yeah.
And he's psychotherapist and author. And Margaret, you're in Bloom Counselling. Isn't that right?
I'm based in Tullamore, Barry.
Based in Tullamore.
Or Barry Eden.
No
Sorry.
That's all right. A man with 2 first names. It's very confusing. Don't worry about it.
Thanks, Barry Aiden.
Okay, well, listen, it's great to have you in. Lovely to have you both. Margaret, thank you.
Lads.
Headaches and Heartaches on Midlands Today, brought to you by the beautiful Abbey Bloom's Botanical Gardens and Cafe Community Initiative in Multifarnham, County Westmeath. A wonderful space for relaxation designed to promote positive mental health and well-being for all. Find Abbey Bloom's Botanical Gardens on Facebook.